Sick and tired of your love-hate relationship with wine?
Welcome to the Feel It Alcohol-Free podcast. Hi, I'm Coach Ruby Williams.
And I'm Coach Susan Larkin.
We're two former wine lovers turned alcohol freedom coaches, exposing the lies about alcohol.
And giving you, our listeners, the tools to break free so you can feel lit.
And when you're lit, you'll feel healthier, freer, and more in control of your life.
So relax, kick back, and get ready to feel lit alcohol-free.
And don't forget, grab a copy of our wine-free weekend guide after the show.
Welcome back to the Feel It Alcohol-Free podcast. And this is part 2 of our moderation talk. We had such a great conversation, actually just a couple hours ago. So we're now, we're coming back in to record part 2. So moderation truly is one of the reasons that people end up getting back into that drinking cycle if they believe they want to moderate in the future. And so we had an interesting discussion. I hope you'll maybe listen to part 1 first. If you catch this one, go back, listen to part 1, and then go to part 2. But we're going to ask it in a different way. We have a listener's question. Slightly, it's the same sort of idea, but here's the question. Can you help me get to a comfortable place where I can drink occasionally? And again, that's where so many people come in. I relate, and I'm sure you relate, Susan. Yeah. Do you want to tell a little bit about your story?
Yeah, well, I totally relate to that because that's exactly where I was when I left AA. Okay, so we're going far back. I think I've told my story from the perspective of 2019, where I was really doing a lot of 30 days, but I want to go further back. I want to go back. I left AA after 8 months, of being alcohol free. I loved how I felt. I did not want alcohol in my daily life. I knew that I felt better. I went to Las Vegas and I told myself I was allowing myself 2 drinks a day. I stuck to that. So I came back going, okay, I can moderate. And I see this with people all the time, right? And so I remember, it really comes down to really being honest and going back. And this is what we talk about all the time, not about the behavior, not about the number of drinks, but how you feel. Okay. So I wanted to moderate. I did not want alcohol in my daily life, but I was just winging it on my own. I didn't have I got no education about alcohol in AA. So then I just came back to thinking, okay, I can be a normal drinker. I can have 2 drinks. But what I failed to learn or become aware of, and looking back now, I can see this, is all of the headspace that was taken up around those 2 drinks. When we were in Vegas, I was like, okay, I'm allowing myself 2 drinks. And my husband was like, I really wanted to go to a nice restaurant and have some nice wine. And my husband didn't want to do that. And I was getting very irritable and was all about, when am I going to get my good wine? I'm allowed my 2 drinks, and all of my headspace about that and getting really upset, having a martini or something. Well, I do remember the first time I drank after, being off for 8 months. So it was the 2 drink thing. So I had this glass of wine. It tasted bad. My initial reaction was ugh. I could tasted toxic, but I'm well, I'm just going to keep drinking it. You know what I mean? It'll taste better if I keep drinking it, which is true. Unfortunately, I just kept drinking it and I'll get used to it. I remember
It numbs your taste buds.
Yes. So then I wake up the next morning feeling like crap because, 8 months and then 2 glasses of, I don't remember what it was. Kendall Jackson, probably Chardonnay, which was what I was drinking at the time. And I just felt toxic. I felt oh, that feels toxic in my body. Oh, well, I just thought that, but then I just kept going oh my gosh. So that experience, but then just the lack of awareness and the quest to see myself as a normal drinker. So then I did moderate, quote unquote, okay, but I didn't have any good guardrails or anything. It was all behavior based. Was I sticking to 2 glasses or did I really have 3? But back again, I would start fudging the numbers. It was only for special occasions. But then again, a Tuesday, because I had a bad day, became a special occasion. Hey, meet me out at the saloon is the name of the restaurant. Meet me there and let's have wine, because I was upset or I was anxious. And so truly, even though I'm telling myself, oh, we're out, that's good drinking, versus I'm sitting at home drinking while I'm watching Netflix, or drinking too much, drinking because I'm ripping the cork out with my teeth because I'm anxious, and over drinking. But that's bad drinking. So it was all this, good drinking, bad drinking. It was all labeled. It was about amounts versus really how I felt. And slowly, so I did moderate for a while. Okay. Or I wouldn't even say it was okay. It was all those things, I just didn't know. But I could go 4 days a week without drinking. I only pretty much drink on the weekends. But is that social drinking? No. Or, I didn't really stick to only special occasions, because there's really wasn't a special occasion every freaking week and every weekend, but I was still, Friday night was a special occasion apparently, just because it was Friday night. So that was that. Then I rolled into a very stressful situation where we owned this music studio. And every night I was going to my full-time job, and then I was going to the music studio at night. And it was very stressful. And I started drinking to cope with overfunctioning, to cope with trying to learn social media and marketing for this music studio, teaching voice lessons after I've already worked a full day's work, which I loved, but it was just too much. And so and I was also super crabby and mean. And so all the jobs I'd given alcohol were coming up, and I just wasn't aware of it. But I was aware of it, and I was aware that my drinking was escalating. But then I was also aware of how hard it was when I went to AA and not having any other option. And so I just kept shoving it out of my mind and just tried to keep trying to, clamp down on that behavior. And so it was just so hard. It was so miserable. And I would just keep shoving it into the back of my mind and go, I can't deal with this now. But knowing that it was, keeping me stuck, I was feeling terrible. I was feeling so bad about myself. I mean, I would wake up and be hungover and drive to work and be crying. What? I hate myself. I hated myself.
Oh my gosh, me too. Every morning, just complete beating myself up. I mean,
I know. I was so hopeless.
I'm so stupid. I'm so lame. I was a labeler and just I can't. Why can't I get this? Why can't I figure this out? And, I really, really relate to your story. And this headspace, you mentioned headspace, and this, when you want to try to normalize or moderate your drinking, it's taking up so much headspace. It's all day long. When am I going to drink? How much am I going to drink? What time will I start drinking? And then rules. Will I drink with friends? So then I end up going out more, thinking I had the same sort of thing. That's okay if I'm out at happy hour drinking. But that always meant I was end up drinking at home even more. So it wasn't really true. Getting honest with yourself really is one of the first things, because if you, like you said in the last episode around, just you might have had 2 glasses, but were they 2 huge glasses?
Yeah, exactly.
It's all these little mind tricks. Oh, it's only 2 glasses, and I'm only drinking out, or just so much headspace. When I explain what alcohol freedom is, I really think it's that mind opening. I have so much more room in my mind that was wasted on alcohol. It was just wasted on all of the thinking and then beating myself up and just recovering from alcohol. It's just so much wasted in my headspace. My headspace is now clear to think about the things I really want. And feel the things. Yeah. So which we talk about in the feel lit part.
But and hating myself. And so fast forward, then 2019, I'm I really got to do something about my drinking. So then I do a program, reset, that word reset. Okay. Do that. Then I just, at that point, then I went back to drinking when we went on vacation that time. And then Then I did another 30 days because I was, because then I did okay. And then I would overdrink. And I just see and it's this illusion of, again, trying to get back to normal. And that is, and I don't know how to say this without making people mad, because I'm pretty sure I would have felt like, oh, screw them, I'm not listening to this podcast anymore if I heard it at the time. But I'm just going to say it. It's like, if you're the kind of person who, like, I knew, like I used to say to myself, it's like my shutoff valve is broken. You know what I mean? Once I start, it's really hard for me to stop. And that's not necessarily true. Like if there was a fire in the building, of course I could stop drinking and run out of the building. Like I wasn't, but it was just sort of this, it was just, once I got a little tipsy, it was like all bets were off. It was like, ooh, more would be better. Like that's just what my brain was. And I wasn't really resisting that necessarily. And I didn't have any tools at all. And so, but to think about just this idea that, like, if that's how you are and you take a significant break from alcohol, you're not going to like grow a new shut off switch. Like that's just how you are. And that's okay. You know what I mean? Like just coming to accept that, like, again, it's like you are here. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. That just sort of helped me a lot. Like, okay, this is where I'm at. And then now where am I going to go from here versus going back and trying to get back to some place in the past. And like scientifically what's happening, like I think about this, and this isn't like, I'm not going to use science speak, but think about this in terms of your subconscious brain. So this whole year in 2019, I'm putting myself on 30 days. So it's my subconscious, I'm depriving myself from alcohol for 30 days. Then I reintroduce it. So my subconscious, I'm using it as a coping mechanism, right? I'm using it to self-medicate. And my subconscious is like, oh, good. We got our medicine. Yay, we needed this. Oh, finally we're calm, right? And so I feel like our subconscious digs in, and people feel this.
Yes.
It's like you take a break and then you go back to drinking, and then the next time you try to take a break, it's like feels harder, and you're like, what the heck? What's going on? It's like, because think about it, your subconscious is like going kicking and screaming even more, like, no, don't go back to deprivation.
Well, your subconscious believes you need it to cope too.
Yeah.
It can be you need it on a survival level even. It's so powerful that you really think you need it to survive. Not consciously. Consciously, alcohol you can, you don't need it. You need water, you need food, you need air, but you don't need alcohol. But it's subconsciously, you've trained your brain to think you need it after a hard day at work, you need it to have fun, you need it to all those things, right? So if I was coaching you at that point, Susan, I actually love when people actually have a couple of cycles where it actually makes me feel like a little bit like, okay, they've had the cycle where they've tried like a 30-day break or even a week break, whatever it is, you feel better, then you go back to drinking. And if someone has at least done that once, they kind of realize, or even if you've done it for years, but for you, it's like we would work together. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you were my client, and like we would work on your beliefs and thoughts and have start introducing other coping tools. Accountability, like meeting weekly is so important to like keep building. Mm-hmm. And then if something data points happen or life gets lifey, and you got these weekly coaching sessions where you really can be vulnerable and you're not alone. It feels like we are linking arms, and I'm we both in coaching are cheerleaders. So it's really, really, yes, you would have back then,
I know. I wish I had. I could have saved myself a lot of pain for an entire year of 2019, or even before that. I feel like some of these options other than AA weren't really around yet.
They weren't.
This is a beautiful time. If you were trying to change your drinking, there are so many other options. And there's a movement. There is an alcohol freedom movement where you don't need to hit rock bottom. You could just choose it as a lifestyle. just like you're gluten-free or dairy-free or whatever, if alcohol is just not serving you, if it's keeping you stuck, taking way too much brain space, you're working way too hard to try to moderate this addictive substance. Sometimes I use the comparison with clients. Would you, if you smoked one cigarette a day for a few weeks, would you be surprised if you became addicted to smoking and wanted to smoke more?
Of course.
It's the same thing with alcohol. It's an addictive substance, and we are taught that it's not. It's only addictive to some people, but it truly is addictive to humans,
all
period.
Human beings, exactly.
Yeah, and especially if you're using it as a coping mechanism. That is proven scientifically that it moves you further along the alcohol use disorder spectrum. Mm-hmm. So when I work with clients, it depends. I've gotten a little bit bolder, honestly, because when I do an introductory, assessment with somebody, depending on their story and where I think based on their story, they're falling on the spectrum, and their goal is to moderate, I will say, I don't know that that's a realistic goal for you based on this, and this, and normalize it with my own story. And because sometimes, I wish somebody maybe would have said that to me, although I don't know that I would have wanted to hear it. So I get that. You kind of have to experience it yourself. And this is where you and I kind of went, I know, you have to experience it yourself, but I have to use my intuition and go, does this person really need to hear this?
Yes.
I don't know.
What you're saying is what I say is I'm putting on my my hard hat, coaching hat. In a gentle way, but as a coach, what we do is we shine a mirror back things that you cannot see. From being, even a coach needs a coach. You can't see. What's the phrase I heard? Was it one of our guests recently? You're in a bottle and you can't see the label on the outside. And I thought that was so cool because you cannot see where you're stuck oftentimes. And so a coaching session might look like you start to tell a story about what's going on, and I can see maybe a belief that's underlying. And then we start digging. And what happens is you very well may have the goal to moderate or to drink normally or to reset. That was definitely me. But over time, the thinking that you have now, as you work with a coach or start to get alcohol free, you have absolutely different thinking. Mm-hmm. I can't repeat that. It's like you can't say, for example, you say, oh my gosh, I have a vacation in 2 months and I can't imagine having an alcohol free vacation. But when you get to that time, things unfold, you learn new things, you have new thoughts, you start to turn around your beliefs, and you actually can maybe go, wow, I can't even imagine drinking on vacation because I feel so good. Again, back to how you feel. Yeah. And how do you want to feel on vacation? This is just an example.
Yeah, but that's something your subconscious is trying to bring up in order to get you to drink again now. You may as well drink now because you're going to drink on your vacation in 2 months. It's crazy how our subconscious is so sneaky. Alcohol is very sneaky, and the way our body tries to keep going back to getting that reward, because it's all about the habit loop. It's about the trigger, the craving, the reward. It's about what is the job that you're given alcohol that then now your brain sees as a reward, right? As a reward as well as something that soothes your nervous system. So when I also work with clients, I ask them to just put the forever question aside. That is too hard to get your brain around. And how do you know if you're ever going to be successful until you're dead?
Just think about it later.
Think about it and put it aside. Even your vacation, put it aside. Guess what? We'll coach on that in 2 months. Just try to put that aside and do, they do say, one day at a time. And there is something a little bit to that. There is something.
Definitely.
It resonates with some people, and other people are like, nope, I just want to make this decision, the big D decision. And it is important to make a firm decision. It is important to make a commitment, in my opinion, to go all in and really, but with curiosity and experimental mindset, like you said.
Go all
changing
in
our
on yourself.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not necessarily against alcohol, just on yourself. Try the resources. working together to find the resources that replenish your body, and doing the mindset work with a coach, making a commitment for a certain period of time, and then reevaluate. So it's like, okay, then I can put that off. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to reevaluate.
Yeah.
And what I say, honestly, is and always put it off to the next day. That's a great way to deal with a craving. Like, just, you know what? Maybe tomorrow, not today, lady. And then I say, the day I wake up wishing I had drank the night before is the day I'll drink again.
Yeah. Nobody ever wishes that they would have drank the night before. When you wake up, you always are so glad you didn't drink. Like, always. I can't think of one person that's like, thank God I drank last night. I feel so good. Like, I mean, I just don't think that happens really. I do want to go back to one point that you made around, okay, it's from the previous episode. We were talking about a cucumber cannot go back. Did I just say it backwards again?
Yes.
A pickle cannot go back to being a cucumber. And
Right.
I actually have an example where I feel like those brain neural pathways are still there, but they're like diminished, or they're still there. Because one time I was at a Christmas festival with my sister, and they were selling tinctures. And I did not know what a tincture was, but she was like, "Oh, this is healthy. It's elderberry tincture. It's very good for your immune system." And she bought it, and she goes, "Try it and put 3 drops under your tongue."
Mm-hmm.
And so I put 3 drops under my tongue, and immediately, Susan, my brain lit up like a Christmas tree. It was the craziest thing. With 3 drops under my tongue, 3 like little doot, 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 my brain went boom. And I literally, the next thought was, I want to buy the tincture. I, within 30 seconds, put my $10 down or whatever and bought it that fast. Then I said to my sister, "What's in this?" And then she's like, "It's pure alcohol. That's how they make tinctures. I guess this kind." Well, there's a data point. Like, I learned something on my brain. So this is how I know that if I reintroduce alcohol, I have to be, my brain just lit up like I said, it was like, I want, and it said, with subconsciously, it said, "I want this. This feels good. I remember that." It just, and I bought the thing without even thinking. And I had been like 8 months alcohol free or something at that point. So be very careful, you guys. Don't.
Yeah. I had that experience with a mocktail. I ordered the mocktail. It came. I drank it, and I'm like, I think there's alcohol in this. It was supposed to be like a raspberry something, and they gave me like a raspberry. It had alcohol. That's all. But it wasn't obvious. It wasn't like a glass of wine or something like. And I wasn't a huge mixed drinker, so I'm like tasting it. I'm passing it around to everybody at the table. Is there alcohol in this? And I'm tasting it again. And then all of a sudden I got this flush feeling, and I was like, there's definitely alcohol in this. And so we brought over and she goes, "Oh my gosh," the waitress, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Yes, I took it back." She looked at me. She goes, "No, it's definitely the mocktail." And I'm like, "I don't think so." So she took it back to the bar, and she came back and she's like, "I'm so sorry. I picked up somebody else, the wrong drink." And yes, this was. And yeah, so being careful. I know other people have gotten like alcohol-free beers, and it comes to the table. It's like, bring the can, pour it at the table so I can see the can that says it's alcohol-free, just to be careful of, I mean, I didn't go raid the liquor cabinet at the mini bar, in our hotel room. We were visiting my son in Maine. It wasn't like that kind of thing, but, I could tell from that feeling that,
Right.
Like,
you have
again,
to be
just to be
honest
careful
with yourself. And that's the same thing that I say with NA drinks. I think I've had some NA drinks where I felt like maybe they have 1% or 2% of alcohol or something in them, because I know I've felt that feeling sometimes with some NA drinks. So, or kombucha. I've heard that too. Kombucha can have like 4%. It can have alcohol. So just be careful. Be
careful.
honest with does your brain say, like mine was with that tincture, "I want more," and like instantly? That was a huge, no, I didn't go out and In fact, I returned that tincture. I just was like, excuse me, I need to return this. But like, I didn't go out and, but I was so aware of it. Like, okay, this is what I need to be aware of. This feeling, this, watch for that.
Yeah. But, and there's other things that can bring you, peace, bring the feeling, like I said, we resource our clients in order to where you don't need to use alcohol as a coping mechanism. We give you real coping mechanisms that work, to learn how to relax properly, to learn how to deal with stress in your life, to have daily practices. And those are the things, like pillars in your life that also, those are the things that I learned that I wouldn't have wanted to give up. When I gave the analogy in the last episode about if a fairy godmother could just go, okay, you're back to, no, those are the things they were so empowering to know that I can go anywhere and do anything alcohol free. I can go through anything without needing to numb myself by using alcohol is so empowering. It's well, we use the word badass.
We are badasses.
Yeah.
And you can be a badass too. And we all have this like superpower within us. Like picture a little Wonder Woman within ourselves. And she's just battling against alcohol. And she can't be that superwoman you have all the answers inside. You already are a superwoman. And the alcohol's just kind of shoving that part of you down. And when you get alcohol free, I started meditating. I have a new career. I am confident. I lost weight. My skin looks better. Speaking of skin looking better, you look gorgeous, Susan. You always do.
Oh,
but I think this is a great time to segue to what do you do to feel lit alcohol free? Since we're talking about this.
Yeah. Well, so, we save a lot of money not drinking, right? So I decided at was it 1 year anniversary? Yes. A little over 1 year anniversary of being alcohol free that I was going to get facials on once a month. And so I found a spa that I really like and started getting facials. And, it's it is a self-care thing, but it's also really good, like for women. I'd never had a facial before. Some people, I just didn't do those regularly. No, I'd had facials. And spa treatments here and there, but it wasn't a regular practice, right? To go in and to just have an esthetician, like look at my skin and give me suggestions of different serums. I'm a serum, junkie. I buy anything off the internet. Oh my gosh. During COVID, I literally had my credit card number memorized because I was just constantly buying serums and creams and and just to stop the madness.
But you were drinking back then, right? So
the beginning of COVID, then the rest of COVID, I'm saying the rest of COVID, I stopped June 1st, 2020. So that's, and then, so it was just to get to even stop that madness and to just go, okay, these are the things I need to keep my skin healthy. I have this, esthetician that is the gal that I go to, and she's also alcohol free. So I love that.
Oh,
so we chat about our skin, and she's like, oh, your skin is so easy to work with because you don't drink. It's so amazing. I don't have to repair any damage and and so it's been a really fun practice for me and a treat for me. That is, it's a treat, right? It's a treat that isn't alcohol, and it's not food, and it's not shopping. It's a self-care treat that I really enjoy.
I love that. I treat myself to a monthly massage. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not really good about it. You sound way better with your facials. It's more like I'll call it a quarterly massage as I forget a lot. But I think having the self-care, because we're saving money not drinking. Keep forgetting that. I'm saving hundreds of dollars not drinking. Yeah, a month. So hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds. Oh my gosh. Well, your skin looks beautiful. And we a few episodes ago, we talked about, if you haven't listened to it, it's a really good episode. We uncover that being alcohol free is you get a fountain of youth. You don't have to necessarily spend so much on creams and serums if you're alcohol free. You look plumper. Yeah.
Or they actually work.
Or yeah,
you're
or
not
then-
undoing, you're not, doing the damage, and all the stuff you're doing for your skin isn't just undoing the damage that you're doing to it on a regular basis. So yeah, you start to see some improvements, and yeah. So it's
awesome. I love that. Feel lit. Yeah. So what a great episode. This is such an important topic, and I'm so glad we took 2 episodes and, to do this, because it truly is something that we work almost with every single client on, is the moderation piece.
absolutely.
And we want to invite you to our Feel Lit alcohol-free Facebook community. That's where we're creating connection, community. We go live sometimes. We sometimes have freebies. We sometimes have giveaways.
Giveaways of mugs. Here's our mug.
Yeah, and so we'd love to invite you there. Please just the link will be in the show notes, but also join our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that if you want to see our mugs, our faces, our young looking skin.
Our young looking skin, or my goofy faces. Like sometimes when I'm like finding clips or pictures, like I'm like, oh, let's find the dorkiest face that I can find of myself. You always look great, Ruby, but oh, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So yeah, please. And we also have a freebie, meaning we have this, we think it's a great asset. Like you can totally do this. It's to dip your toe in, have a weekend wine free, alcohol free, like try it out. Like that's a first like step, just to try.
Yeah.
And we focus a lot on self-care. So, anyway, what a great episode. Thank you so much, Susan. I love your story. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I love your story too. I love how we relate to each other's, and there's so many similarities because the common denominator is alcohol. So if you're like nodding along, it's because of alcohol. It's nothing wrong with you. And we would love to help you. And we're so glad you're listening.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Feel Lit Alcohol Free Podcast. Do you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show?
All you need to do is head over to Apple Podcasts and do 2 simple things. Leave a rating and review telling us what you think of the show. And in that review, ask us any questions you have about breaking free from wine or living an alcohol-free lifestyle.
That's it. Then tune in to hear your question answered live. Don't forget to grab your copy of A Wine-Free Weekend at www.feelitpodcasts.com.
And remember, do something today that will help you feel lit.
See you next time.